Okay, it's May 1st, 2022. Parker Coleman's going to do something a little different today. We are going to, or he is going to, maybe I'll add some commentary. He's going to talk about every team and give a brief update, some longer than others, some shorter than others. Without further ado, Parker Coleman.
Sorry for no recaps. I'm working on a book on the whole history of baseball. I'm not going to go tell you to buy that. You're going to buy it if you want to. If you don't care, you don't care. There's nothing really I can do about it. We're going to talk about the standings today because there are a lot of interesting things going on in the standings. And I think I will mention a few interesting things from Friday and Saturday. Padres beat the Pirates 7-3, 4-game winning streak for the Pirates, or 4-game losing streak for the Pirates, 4-game winning streak for the Padres. Both those were snapped yesterday. The Marlins have beaten the Mariners 2 games in a row. Marlins have the second longest winning streak in baseball behind the Yankees. Orioles and Red Sox are so far tied in the series. Red Sox won Friday 3-1. Orioles won Saturday 2-1 in 10 innings on a wild throw by Hirokazu uh, Sawamura. I don't know if I said his name right. Astros and Blue Jays are currently tied 1-1. I think that'll be the most exciting ALCS matchup there could be. Both of the games have been really exciting and really close this series, and all three of the games last weekend were separated by 1 run. The Rays and the Twins are tied in their series at 1. Rays won 6-1 on Friday. Twins won 9-1. Yes, they did. On Saturday, 2 blowout games. This could be another potential playoff matchup. Mets and Phillies are tied in their series at 1. Mets threw a combined no-hitter on Friday. Phillies won 4 on Saturday. And this is very funny. So the Mets were down 1-0 in the seventh, or the Mets were up 1-0. And not only did Adam Ottavino fail, so that's funny in itself, but Schwarber hit a 2-run homer for the lead, and some Mets fans were actually trying to argue that it wasn't a big home run on Instagram. A home run for the lead in the 7th inning. That's crazy. Man, I don't think it's just Mets fans, but they were like really, really upset about it. It was really funny. The Angels and the White Sox are tied in their series at 1. There are a lot of teams that are tied in their series. Angels won 5-1 on Friday. White Sox won a rally 4-0 yesterday. Braves and Rangers are tied in their series. Braves won 6-3 on Friday. The Rangers won 3-1 today. Acuna got his first RBI back from the injured list. RBI single in the 3rd inning, scoring Travis Dermody. The Yankees, finally, a team that is ahead. They've beaten the Royals twice. The Royals are leaving a lot of people on base, but the Yankees are still just beating them and being better than them. So it's not like the Yankees are getting lucky necessarily. 12-2 in 8 innings on Friday. They won 3-0. Garrett Cole shut down the Royals on Saturday. The Brewers have absolutely destroyed the Cubs the last 2 games, winning 11-1 on Friday, 9-1 on Saturday. Diamondbacks have their series started Thursday. The Cardinals won that, but Diamondbacks on Friday won 6-2. Yesterday they won 2-0. So they're actually leading the series 2-1 over the Cardinals. The Rockies are beating the Reds. That's not surprise anybody. The Reds. I'm going to get to that. Rockies won 10-4 on Friday. Won a close 4-3 game yesterday. Reds are down to 3-18 for the first time since 2018, which is not really good because that was 4 years ago, and I can remember that. The Guardians have had 2 close wins over the Athletics. They won 9-8 with a home run for the lead, which isn't a big hit apparently. On Friday, and a 3-1 game where 3-1 game on Saturday where rookie Richie Palacios had a 2 RBI double in the 9th inning for the lead. The Tigers and the Dodgers are tied in their series. Dodgers won 5-1 on Friday. Tigers won at the same score on Saturday. Clayton Kershaw passed Don Sutton for most strikeouts in Dodgers history. And I saw a very funny graphic, and let's see what it said. It said it was Kershaw versus Brisky, and it said Clayton Kershaw starts 379. Bo Brisky 1. Clayton Kershaw 188 wins. Bo Brisky 0. Clayton Kershaw 2,471 and 2/3 innings. Bo Brisky 5. Clinton Kershaw, 2,693 strikeouts. Will Brisky, 3. Clinton Kershaw, draft pick 7th. Will Brisky, 802nd. So I don't know what the point of that was. Yes, Clinton Kershaw is better than Will Brisky. I don't know if we needed a graphic to show us that. So, and then the Giants and the Nationals. This series is surprisingly split. Nationals won 14-4, snapping like an 8-game losing streak on Friday, and then the Giants retaliated and won by a pretty big margin, 9-3, on Saturday. So those are all the series that are going on. Now we're going to talk about the standings, and we're going to come in hot here with a bit of a hot take. It's to the New York Yankees. Now, an 8-game winning streak is impressive. But do you want to hear the teams that they played?
Sure.
The Guardians, the Orioles, and the Royals. And they took 2 out of 3 against the Tigers before this. And, you know, I don't want to say that an 8-game winning streak is not impressive, because it is. You winning 2 out of 3 against each team is expected. The winning 3 out of 3, or nope, no 4 out of 4, just 3 out of 3. That's good too. But it's not like they're playing a whole bunch of tough teams, is my point. Orioles are still a bottom level team, even though they're better. They're still bottom level. I mean, you can't get any worse than they've been in the last 5 years. And the Royals still aren't very good. The Guardians struggle on offense. And I would say, I'm not going to say it's not impressive, because an 8-game winning streak is impressive. But I think that they are playing a lot of easy teams. And we saw this last year, I feel like. They had a long winning streak last year. They didn't, if I recall correctly, they didn't play a bunch of good teams. And yeah, let's see how they do against the Blue Jays on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and next Tuesday and Wednesday. Or heck, even against the Rangers, who have a great offense. Part of the thing that they've been doing is shutting down other teams' offense. Besides that 12-8 win against the Orioles, I mean, if you shut down the Blue Jays offense, and in June they get a harder schedule. They play the Twins for 3 games. They play the Rays 6 games in June. Sorry, they play the Blue Jays 3 times and play the Astros 5 times. So I think that maybe we could see what they're really made of here. But I feel like anybody would be saying this about any other team. Any Yankees fan would be saying, okay, but they only played the Guardians, the Orioles, and Royals. It's not different because it's your team. Again, 8-game winning streak's impressive. They're playing well, but I don't want to give them a lot of credit and call them World Series contenders, because I think they still need a starting pitcher or two. I don't want to give them a lot of credit, call them World Series contender for beating the Orioles, Royals, and Guardians. Hot take, but it's there. A team that I'm going to be hard on as well is the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays' offense has been exciting, but they're winning a lot of close games. They're getting pretty lucky. They're 14-8, but their run differential is 0. And they've won the most amount of one-run games, and they have Jordan Romano, their closer, has the most saves in baseball. And I think it's by a pretty wide margin. Let's check. He's got 10 saves, and the second, Josh Hader has 10, but most in the American League by a pretty wide margin. The second most is Raisel Iglesias with 6. Josh Hader has 10 too, so the Brewers are winning a few close games as well, as you could tell. But I think that the Blue Jays, it's kind of crazy to say, but I think they're kind of underperforming and getting lucky in May, because they have close wins. Both wins against the Raptors were one-run games. They had two one-run wins. That's a tough thing to say against the Red Sox. They had they had a one-run win against the Astros yesterday. So they're getting quite a few one-run wins. And they got one against the A's as well. So it's not to say that the Blue Jays are playing horribly, but I feel like they could be playing a lot better with their offense and the pitching staff that is actually theoretically better. And I think that from looking at their run amounts, it does look like the offense has been kind of letting down. But I don't think I should be worried about the Blue Jays, because I think they're going to heat up, especially in June and July. I feel like that's usually when they heat up. I think they'll be good by then. So there's nothing to worry about, nothing to really care about. Same thing with the Yankees. I sounded kind of harsh on them. There's nothing to worry about, nothing to care about. Nothing to really think about, to be honest with you. But yeah, Blue Jays, they're doing a good job of holding up with the Yankees while this 8-game winning streak's going on. The Rays are 12-9, and they're playing pretty mediocrely, and I don't care. Remember when we doubted the Rays last year? What did they do? Go on like an 11-game winning streak and ended up with the best record in their team history? They're gonna figure it out. This is a team led by Kevin Cash, and a team led by Kevin Cash only falls apart in the playoffs whenever you have to look to see what's going on. Hence pulling Blake Snell in the 2020 World Series. But the Rays, I believe that they're very close to breaking out. They're playing worse later last year. I told you they're like 13 and 13, 14 and 14, something like that. And then going on an 11-game winning streak or 12-game winning streak and winning like 14 out of 15. There's nothing to worry about. The Rays fan, I don't think you're worried, but because you're 12 and 9, that's still pretty solid for other teams that are supposed to be good. And if you're not a Rays fan, then stop doubting them. Do not doubt the Rays until the season is over or until they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs because they play the matchups. They're smart. They're the smartest team in baseball. They're smarter than you or I, and maybe baseball wise. I don't know if they know anything about like advanced calculus or anything, but I do think that the Rays are about to break out, and until they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, I don't care. I think they can go on a winning streak anytime. And I feel like that's the approach that any fan should have anytime with what we've seen in the last 3 or 4 years or so. The Boston Red Sox are a team that aren't playing very well. And they had let's see, they went 1-3, 2-3, 2-7 against the Blue Jays, a game against the Twins, and 2 series against the Blue Jays and a series against the Rays. They're not playing very well. And they did have stretches last year where they played this bad or worse, and they were later in the season, admittedly. I don't know if anyone's going to remember this, but in late July, late June, early August, early July, one of those times, it really all blends together, especially when you watch 162 Astros games. Everything else kind of blends together. I'm trying to do my best to recall. But the Red Sox were in the playoff. They're the best team in baseball after May. I know that. Power rankings wise, best playing team in baseball. This surprised everybody because they had like no pitching besides Nate Eovaldi. And but in late June, I believe it's late July, they fell out of the playoff, or not out of the playoff race. They fell out of the second wild card spot. So they played this bad or worse. It's not time to sound the alarm bells, but they haven't been playing well. They lost their series to the Yankees, beat the Tigers in the series. Everyone's done that this year. They split a series with the Twins, and then they lost 2 series against the Blue Jays and lost a series to the Rays. That doesn't look very good. And they're 9-13, and they just lost a heartbreaker. Do you remember Joe Adele's throw?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if he was a pitcher. That's basically how they lost yesterday. Chirinos tried to bunt, and Sawamura threw it in the maybe left field, maybe onto what's that, Utah Street or whatever. I know it's that way, but the point is that it wasn't a good throw, and it's a tough way to lose. That's one of the toughest ways to lose. It's one of the most Orioles way to lose. Ironically, it was the Orioles who won, but they're losing close games too. 1-0 to the Blue Jays, 2-1 yesterday, as I just mentioned. 6-5 against the Blue Jays, 3-2 against the Rays, 3-2 against the Blue Jays, 3-1 against the Tigers, 4-2 against the Yankees, 6-5 against the Yankees. Those are close games, and they're going to need to get some bullpen help if they want better. And this is a team that made the LCS this year or last year and added Trevor Story, so it's not like they necessarily got worse. They just didn't have a whole lot of pitching. They don't still, and if they want to end up doing good, they need to get some starting and relief pitching. Garrett Whitlock, great. Nate Eovaldi, he looked good yesterday. And again, it was against the Orioles, so take it with a grain of salt, but he looked good. But you need more, and I don't think it's the Red Sox offense that's. Maybe it is their offense. They're not. Their offense, honestly, now looking at it, not the worst in baseball, but it's not as good as it was last year. And if you're not going to have any pitching, you're going to need wow. The narrative is crazy. Looking at it, the Red Sox pitching has actually been doing better than their offense. It's crazy. and they're still not playing well. So looking at all the stats, their pitching's better than their offense, but that's not. They're not playing good basically, and their offense needs to get better. Don't know what happened to it because you added Trevor Story there, and if he's slumping right now, which he might be, it doesn't. It needs to get better, and I don't think the Red Sox are playing very good. And this is what I expected them to be: fourth place in the division. Not this way, of course, but still, I think it will even out. I think their Trevor Story is going to break out maybe this month, I would say, and maybe the pitching goes back down, or maybe they elevate. Who knows? Orioles are still not very good, but they do look better than usual. They're still on pace to win. They're still on pace to go 54-108. I believe that's 3.33 winning percentage, right? Yes, it is. But they have looked better, and their pitching has actually looked pretty solid considering everything. Of course, the Red Sox pitching is better, just since we're talking about it, but it's better than 30th. They're 20th in runs allowed, 22nd in hits allowed, 23rd in batting average against, 18th in ERA, 14th in home runs given up. They are 29th in fielding percentage. That's not very good. Also, their offense, they're dead last in runs, dead last in slugging, 29th in home runs hit. They only have 10 home runs hit. So it's actually, again, it's flipped. It's actually the offense that's hurting the Orioles, not the pitching. They were both horrible in 2021, 2019, and 2018. But I do think that their offense last year was better than their pitching. Their pitching had nobody. And again, the Cedric Mullins doesn't look as good as he did last year. Again, small sample size, take with a grain of salt. Mancini doesn't either. And heck, even Mountcastle, who's performing the best out of most of them, out of those three, he doesn't look as good as he did last year either. Austin Hayes, I would say, would be one of the best performing players. He has the highest on base percentage of somebody who didn't play like 2 games. So yeah, Orioles are the worst team in the division, and the Red Sox, they might be falling that way too. Not towards the Orioles, but like not being good. It might be a 3-team race. The Twins are the best team in the NL in the AL Central, and I mean, I think I need to rag on a team for them to start playing well, because the Twins, they're losing some frustrating games. Those 2 Mariners losses, really avoidable if you have solid bullpen guys. Same thing with a couple of those Royals losses. But the reason why I was just kind of playfully ragging on them was because they lost 2-0 and 4-3. The pitching did well for once, but their bullpen did, or not their bullpen, their offense didn't. They beat the White Sox, good for them. And they've beaten the Tigers. They did lose their winning streak to the Rays, but they got it back. And I would be a hypocrite if I said to not take it with a grain of salt after what I just said with the Yankees. So I'd say yes, take it with a grain of salt. The White Sox, they're slumping. This was one of their worst slumps in probably well, it's 3 years, but in probably their whole time of being a playoff contender, 2020, 2021, 2022. Their longest losing streak since 2018 when they lost 100 games. And the Tigers have been performing poorly, and they've been winning pretty luckily. However, I think the Twins have a better chance of winning the division than the Yankees. Here's why. The rest of the division looks bad. And, however, the Yankees have to deal with the Blue Jays and the Rays. Not a knock on the Yankees, it's just that they have more competition in their division. Twins are 12-9, and they're 3 games ahead of the 9-12 Guardians and 9-12 or 8-12 White Sox. And it's kind of crazy to say, but Carlos Correa hasn't been playing at his level. He still has 1 home run, 243 average, 309 on base, 324 slugging, 633 OPS. Now, he's a lot better than that. Trust me, I've watched him for 7 years. He's a lot better than that. Their pitching, Joe Ryan is phenomenal. Dylan Bundy, he's pitching like he's in the Angels uniform, not an Orioles uniform. And Bailey Ober looks pretty good too. We'll look at a few offensive guys. Polanco, he's struggling. And Arise, Urshela, and Larnack, Oh, and Buxton. If I forgot Buxton, you deserve to call me an idiot in the comment section. Buxton has been playing very, very well. And that's not surprising. 1,069 OPS. That's phenomenal. Kepler has 887 OPS. A guy who is really struggling is Miguel Sano. 093 average, 239 on base. 148 slugging. He's struggling a lot. Do you have anything to say?
No, I haven't seen much of anybody except the Astros and, of course, like Seth Beer, Clemson guys.
Yeah.
But that's really what I've noticed. And except I've also noticed our favorite thing is Mike Trout's going to hit 60 home runs, and
Mhm.
and
Yeah, the Twins, I think they have a better chance of winning the division than the Yankees just because they have less competition. Guardians snapped their losing streak, so that's good. And with how things are going, it probably deserves to be Jose Ramirez and like 8 rookies in the lineup. Because Quan, he's back, so good for him. Palacios, he's looked pretty solid. And I know Owen Miller's not a rookie. Andres Jimenez aren't rookies. They're young guys, but they're not rookies. And Jimenez has looked really good. 340 average, 347 on base, 554 slugging, 921 OPS. And Miller maybe he's cooled off a bit, maybe not. I haven't heard a whole lot about him. But the Guardians, maybe they're a little better than they let on. The Angels and Yankees, I criticize the Yankees. They're still a good team. That's not me saying that they're a bad team. They're still a good team. And the Angels, they're playing some of the best baseball that they have with Mike Trout. Well, maybe besides that one year where they won 98, when they won 98 games and then lost to the Royals, I believe it was 2014. Yeah. But the Guardians, they need to get consistent. They like beating up on bad teams. Ramirez is playing out of his mind like usual. Owen Miller still has a 1,166 OPS. So yes, he probably still is playing good. He probably is still playing pretty good. But soon it's going to be the Guardians and a bunch of rookies, or Jose Ramirez and a bunch of rookies / young guys. You want a sad stat of the day?
Sure.
Framino Reyes is an 0 for 24 slump, 16 strikeouts during that. He was the second best player on the Guardians offensively last year. And he's a DH too, so he's basically useless if he's not hitting anything.
Yeah.
He finally got taken out of the lineup, I'd say. And Josh Naylor's looked pretty solid too. The Guardians aren't that bad of a team, I'd say. They had the losing streak. Everyone has a losing streak. I mean, the Braves, they weren't over 500 last year until August.
Mm-hmm.
They're considered the second most disappointing baseball team last year until August. So I'd say if the Guardians are still under 500 in June or July, then sure, ship sail on them. But I think that the team should probably be winning a few more games, it feels like, with maybe not be a division contender, but still should be winning a few more games than with the offense. And their pitching's pretty solid, too. Speaking of not solid, the White Sox, they're not doing very good. The White Sox are 2-10 in their last 12. I told you they had their longest losing streak in 2018 when they won up 62 games. And their offense is what's hurting them. Now, the pitching's not very solid either. And every time Dallas Keuchel's on the mound, I love the dude, but he's not very good anymore. It sucks, but the offense is what's hurting them. And, of course, Eloy Jimenez being out, that's a big main thing. So is Yoel Moncada. Rivera's out for a week or so. But the White Sox, they're really struggling. Abreu is struggling from what it looks like. Of course, I'm just reading off the stats right now. Rivera, again, it's a week or so, or a month or so, I should say. But Rivera doesn't look like the MVP candidate that some people were saying he was. Leury Garcia, sorry, he stinks. He's not very good anymore. That looks to be the main source. Jimenez looks like he was struggling too before the injury. And of course, you can't write out anything from a month or so. I don't think the White Sox are in trouble, but if you had to choose a team to be in trouble, say if you asked me what team is the most in trouble. I don't think really any team's in trouble besides the Reds because they suck. But if you
Well, and that's why I think I was told you earlier. I didn't do an update on the estimated wins because we're a week short of games that we were at this point last year. So yeah, it's still early. Is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
So if I don't think that the White Sox are in trouble necessarily. I think that if someone asked me, like, held a gun to my head and said you have to choose one team that's really in trouble in baseball that was supposed to be good, I'd probably say the White Sox. But I don't think they're in trouble in that sense. Just if I had to choose something. Royals, they are not very good. You know, they left an average of like 9 runners on base in their last 7 games per game. That's not good. That's like Astros 2021 slump level. The Astros in 2021 were still a good team. They left a lot of people on base, if you remember.
Yes, I do remember. They're doing pretty similar this year.
At least yesterday. Man, that was a tough game. They lost a series to the Yankees. They did take a series from the White Sox. They got swept by the Mariners. They lost series to the Tigers. Wow. I guess I blocked that out of my mind. And then the series with the Guardians. Basically the season. And our offense doesn't look very good. Whit Merrifield. I love the dude's Iron Man streak. He does not look very good. I've watched a few Royals games, and he has lost weight. His nickname's Two Hit Wit, right? He's had 2 hits in 1 game this season. He's batting 141. His on-base percentage is under 200. So is his slugging. He hasn't hit a home run. Only has 3 doubles. He does not look very good. Bobby Wood Jr. Not making any judgments here. He's a rookie. He's had some big hits, had some big plays, and he actually has a hitting streak right now. He has 9-game hitting streak. The problem with that is that when you have 1 hit per game, your stats go up very slow. Eventually, they're going to get up, and eventually, you're going to look like a solid player. But you're not going to look like it now because you're only getting 1 hit or so per game. But I'm not going to freak out about Witt. I still think he's going to be a Rookie of the Year candidate, and we'll see how he does. I think I'm going to wait until like August or September to judge the rookies because they get figured out by baseball pretty easily, and the great rookies always, always, always look better than they did in May.
And you and I talked about Kelnick, and he had a good. Was it September?
Yeah,
he had a good September. It looked like he was coming on, and turned around, he's batting below 200.
Yeah, he's not. He's not doing very good right now.
So who knows?
Yeah, I think that's the thing here is to give Jared Kelnick a lot of crap. Don't hate him. Probably a nice guy, but no, he's not going to be an MVP candidate this year. But we're going to get to the Mariners. Salvador Perez. He's hit some home runs, but his OPS is 722, so that's not bad. But he's getting on base. His slugging is high. His on base percentage is 256. A guy who's doing good, Andrew Benintendi. The Royals' offense is what's struggling. Carlos Santana doesn't look very good either. 127 average, 3 or 4 on base, 200 slugging. That's not very good. The Royals, I feel like they could be better. If you do want to do something, start Brady Singer instead of Chris Bubik. That could help them. I don't think it'll make them necessarily a good team, but that could get them a few more wins. And the Tigers are pretty. I don't want to call them disappointing because I don't know how much people expected them to make the playoffs, but I think people expected them to play better. And Torkelson again doesn't look very good. Not going to talk about him. I'm going to give like updates whenever I do these, but I'm not going to talk about the guys necessarily until the rookies and how good they were this year until like August or September starts. If Meadows performing well, Scope, Candelario, Torkelson, all batting below 100 or not 100. Sorry, 200. They're not that bad. 188 on base for Scope, 211 slugging. OPS is just below 400. Candelario's is at 440. Torkelson's OPS is actually pretty high, so he's hitting it pretty hard, getting on base quite a bit. I did notice that he does walk quite a few times, which is good for a rookie. So yeah, no judgments on Torkelson. The Tigers' pitching hasn't been very good either. Let's see some of the Let's look at Eduardo Rodriguez, the big free agent signing, 1.5 running ERA, 1.27 WHIP. I don't have any advanced stats with me right now, but Tyler Alexander, 8.76 ERA in 12 innings, 1.78 WHIP. I don't know what you're saying. Sorry. Casey Mize, 5.4 ERA, 1.50 WHIP. So the Tigers, their pitching's really hurting them. Their offense isn't very good either. But yeah, that's what's going to get you to be last in the division. Oh, you're saying it's 10:30?
I was saying you were at 30 minutes and you're still in the American League.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, I'm having fun talking. If you,
I'm fine. I'm just letting you
know.
Sorry.
But
yeah,
if you ever want to do it, just type it on like the notes app or something like that, or write it down on a piece of paper. Just saying. But yeah, bad pitching and struggling offense, that's how you're going to get last in the division. Then we go to the AL West. Wow, for our 30 minutes, we started exactly at 10. That's pretty cool. The Angels are playing well. Now, I think that, again, it's a bit of an easy schedule. The Guardians are struggling. The Orioles, wow, I lost series to the Orioles. The Guardians and the White Sox are struggling. And the Orioles aren't very good. They did beat the Astros 2 out of 3, so credit there. Beat the Rangers 3 out of 4. Sure. Marlins 2 out of 3. I want to see what they do again whenever they have a tough schedule at the end of May, starting June. Blue Jays 4 games, Yankees 3 games, Phillies 3 games, Red Sox 4 games, Mets 3, Dodgers 2, Mariners 5. After a series against the Royals, which should be pretty easy, they have 3 against the Mariners. 3 against the White Sox, who I expect is out of the slump by then. 3 against the Astros. And apparently the Marlins are good now, so they got 2 against them. That'll be a good test. Angels, they do look better than last time. Mike Trout and Taylor Ward are having great years. Shohei Ohtani still doing Shohei Ohtani things. His average is down, but his OPS still at 700, so who really cares? Rendon looks his average is down as well, but his OPS is at 700, so again, who really cares? Ward's his OPS is 1,284. That's crazy. He's had a hot month. So yeah, the Angels best team in the division. The Astros I'm not worried about. And now this might be a hot take for people because their offense is one of the worst, is a bottom 10 offense in baseball right now. But first of all, I don't have Jose Altuve, so that's something in itself. Second of all, Jose Altuve was barreling all the baseballs that he's hit, or most of them. So he's hitting the ball hard and just wasn't getting results. Tucker, same thing. And Alvarez, he's hitting the ball pretty well too. He's getting results now. Brantley, he could have been better. So that's kind of the insider information you have when you're following a team. Bregman's OPS is a near 800. He's playing phenomenally well. Alvarez's OPS is near 1,000. He's playing well too. Alvarez, he's hitting a lot better, but he was down to like 150 during the last homestand. So yeah, I think that they're struggling right now, or not playing very well right now. But they are a lot better than this, and I do think that if that once Lance McCullers Jr. comes back, they're going to be one of the top teams in the American League. Easy. Stop doubting them. I feel like that's how we should feel about most teams, is that until they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, like the Rays or the Yankees, or the Dodgers, of course, we shouldn't doubt them. I mean, just let's not doubt the Astros. Or you can if you want. I mean, it doesn't matter. I've never gotten why fans get so mad at like ESPN for doubting their team. Like, who cares what ESPN says?
Right, and ESPN is just saying that because people watch.
Yeah, so this is hypocritical of me to say because I'm not necessarily a genius when it comes to baseball or sports, but like they say that stuff to upset people. So who cares about what ESPN says? You're playing right into their trap if you get annoyed. I mean, I don't even care. And if I was an NBA player, which I'm never going to be because I'm literally 5'4" and weigh about 100 pounds, I would not care about my 2K rating or how high I'm ranked in the top 100. Because sure, being disrespected, but those people are stupid and they're saying that stuff to cause controversy. So you shouldn't. So you're basically playing right into their thing if you're doing that.
Well, first of all, you're taller than 5'4", aren't you?
I'm probably 5'5".
But you're the taller.
I did too, but apparently I'm not.
That's the funniest thing you've ever said.
You say that like 3 or 4 times a week. But we're to the Mariners,
You're getting better.
and they've lost 4 in a row. Rays again playing pretty well. They lost 2 close games to the Rays, and then they've lost to the Marlins, who are very hot. I do think that the Mariners, I don't want to say they're overperforming, because that would put me in the hater category. But Frazier, his OPS is below 700. Not very good. Crawford, France, of course, are 2 guys who are performing really well. Crawford wasn't a very good guy. He was great defensively, 2020, 2021. Not very good offensively. He's up to 1,022 OPS. Now, of course, that might not be sustainable over 162 game season for him, but he's still up there. Winker, Rodriguez, Toro, and Kelnick all look very, very bad. Hey, Rodriguez is at 205. On base is 284. Slugging is 260. 544 OPS. Winker's at 169 average. 326 on base. 197 slugging. A 523 OPS. Toro 156, 217, 313, 530 OPS. And then Kelnick still doesn't look very good. 148, 221, 311, and then 526. Haniger's injured. His OPS was above 700 despite his average and on base being pretty low. I think he's a big part of this Mariners team, and I think he's going to get hot soon. A few guys who deserve mention for the pitching. Logan Gilbert looks phenomenal. And Robbie Ray, it's early, doesn't look like a Cy Young candidate, but he doesn't look bad per se. And, I mean, again, it's 3 weeks into the season, so it's not a big deal if he does. Matt Brash, this is going to be a very controversial take, but Matt Brash, I don't want to say he's overrated, but his game against the Astros, that was overrated. He walked 6 guys in less than 6 innings. Sure, he gave up 2 hits, but that's not sustainable. You can't walk 6 guys. And he was never really in the zone either, I would say. The Astros were not doing very good offensively at that point. And he gave 6 runs to the Marlins. He walked 4. I don't think he's a bad pitcher. I think that his start to the season was kind of overrated, just like the Mariners. Sorry, that was a bit of a low blow.
Hey, I got a couple of things on Kelnick. Real quick. So last year, as you told me the other day, he ended up batting 181 after a real good September, and he finished the year with a 71 OPS plus. Now this year, he is only batting 148, as you mentioned. He's only hit 2 home runs. For his career, he's 398 at bats. He's got an OPS plus of 69, a batting average of 176, on base of 258. So not very good. And if you look at his baseball savant, you will see average exit velocity, 7th percentile, expected weighted on base, 5th percentile, whiff percent, 7th percentile, batting average, 1 percentile, strikeout, 1 percentile, hard hit percent, 15, and slugging, 11.
So that's a whole lot of blue.
A whole lot of blue.
Is there anything red? Or at least
max exit velocity is 96, and barrel percent is 59, so it's light red. And outs above average is 66, which is his, besides max exit velocity.
Oh,
so
good.
He's a above average fielder and horrible at the bat. Sorry.
Yeah, that was something good to say, because I don't have any. If this is going to be long, but if I were to go and look up everybody who I was talking about their expected stuff, A, this video would be out in like 5 days, which defeats the purpose of doing it after April. And B, this video would be like 12 hours long.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out that he's now had 400 at bats. It's not like 100 times or whatever.
Yes. I don't think that you can close the book on him until like 4 years, but I don't see why people are picking to be like an MVP candidate, because I think if Kelnick's going to get better, it's going to be steadily. And you don't go from hitting 180, having one of the worst rookie seasons of all time for someone who played as much as he did, to becoming an MVP candidate. You just don't do it.
Except for somebody like JD Martinez, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who didn't who batted good, who had a good average compared to Kelnick. He's even worse than like JD Martinez was. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I just don't know how much longer you can put that guy out there if you want to win the division. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that the reason why he's so low in all those percentiles is because he's getting the most playing time as somebody who's batting 148.
Yes.
I think that if the Mariners, you can't have it both ways. You can't keep throwing Kelnick. I don't want to say anything about Julio Rodriguez. Oh, there's something I did want to talk about. The fact that the Mariners are writing a letter to baseball saying that Julio Rodriguez is being umped against is ridiculous. He's had some bad calls go his way. Not go his way, I should say. He's a rookie. That's going to happen. It's frustrating. Sure. There are not umpires who are going to the plate saying, I'm going to screw over the best rookie talent-wise in baseball. That's ridiculous. That does not happen. In fact, if anything, they should want to help him because that helps a good rookie. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. Julio Rodriguez is not. It's not because he's Julio Rodriguez or anything like that. It's just something that happens. In baseball, you're inevitably gonna have a guy who's umped worse than everyone because that's just how it is. You're gonna have guys who are umped better. You're gonna have guys who are umped worse. Writing a letter to baseball, ridiculous, crazy, asinine. Anyways, the A's. I don't really want to talk about them too much. Montas is his whip is low, his ERA is high. Maybe he got unlucky. Irvin's pitched pretty well. Blackburn has as well. But this team might finally be falling back down to Who knows? About 3-5 in the last 8. Nothing crazy. But I don't think they're very good. I think they're going to end up winning 70 games the most this year. But I do think that they're falling back down. The Rangers need pitching. Pitching is not good. John Gray is on the IL. Semien has been really underperforming. Love the dude. He's struggling. Seager, I don't want to say he was underperforming, maybe for his contract, but he has started to heat up. He has home run in the last 3 games. And Nathaniel Lowe is doing his April Nathaniel Lowe things with a 768 OPS. Other than that, I feel like their offense is pretty solid. They do have some guys who are struggling, like Garver, and at least Garcia doesn't look super good either. But their pitching hurts. Their offense isn't necessarily phenomenal. And I think that the Rangers are going to be one of the second worst team in the division. National League, Mets playing well. They're top 10 in basically every category. And when you have runs, hits, average, on-base percentage, slugging, not slugging, they're 13th in that. Slugging, OPS, stolen bases, runs allowed, hits allowed, batting average against, ERA, whip, strikeouts per 9, home runs, and fielding percentage. Top 10 in all that except for slugging. Yep. And they're 19th in home runs, but their offense and pitching very good. I don't want to talk too much about them because I'm sure that a lot of people have already talked about them. But they're playing well, deserve credit. 2 best teams in baseball right now, both in New York. Let the insufferability begin. Marlins, I do want to talk about. They're playing very well, and it's very awesome to see. I felt bad for Marlins fans for a long time. This is their longest winning streak since 2008. The longest winning streak ever is 9 games. If they can beat Logan Gilbert today, they could probably beat that because they got the Diamondbacks for 3 games. Started Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday. Monday, what am I talking about? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Jesus Sanchez looks very good. So does Jazz Chisholm. He's at a 1,011 OPS. That's not sustainable with John Berge in his first 11 games at 1,057. Anderson's is high. Wendell's is high. This team can be very solid with a good offense, maybe a few additions to the bullpen, but the starters are lights out. Luzardo looks pretty solid, a lot better than he did with the A's. Alcantara looks great. Pablo Lopez has the lowest ERA in baseball, 0.39 in 4 starts. Rogers isn't even Trevor Rogers isn't even necessarily playing well. If he starts pitching well, then the Marlins can be pretty good. I think they have a chance at being a team in like a wild card contender. I said this last year. I didn't think they were doing anything in 2022, and that was pretty obvious as more as the season went on. But they're playing very well, and they're maybe they don't even need any additions to the bullpen. Um, Again, Marlins, we don't get any Florida channels here. They have to be playing a team near to watch. They have been winning some close games, so maybe the bullpen actually isn't doing that bad. I don't know. It feels like they are. But the Marlins, I do think that they could contend for a wild card round this year with how they're playing right now. Who knows? Maybe they fall back down to earth, but they are playing very well, and Marlins fans should be excited for at least next year. Phillies, they're doing what I expected. They're mediocre. They're 11-11, high on offense, better pitching wise, but still not very good. Um, and their fielding got a lot better. I would say that nobody's really struggling offensively. I mean, if you want to count Matt Vierling, maybe Bermuda's a little under average. Segura's a little under average. So is Camargo and Didi Gregorius. But I will say that the Phillies, they're basically doing what I expected. Who aren't doing what I expected are the Braves, who are 10-12 and are offensively not doing very good. I do feel like it was a mistake to trade Freddie Freeman. Matt Olson is better, yes. These prospects that came up, that could have made them a dynasty potentially. Shea Langoliers, he's going to kill it for Oakland. And they gave up like 3 top 25 prospects. I feel like it could have just been better if they re-signed Freeman and kept those prospects. Sometimes you take the bird in front of you instead of the one on the bush or something like that. Yeah, it's not to say that Olson's playing badly. Okay, this is going to be, I think Albies and Swanson, massively overrated. And I think Albies and Swanson are two of the most overrated players in baseball. Swanson especially, because this is something I do want to get right, because this is something I've been thinking about. I feel like Swanson and Albies have been very overrated in baseball. Let's look up Dansby Swanson on Baseball Reference real quick. Let's see. He has the most strikeouts in baseball right now, or in the National League, I should say. 203 average, 280 on base, 338 slugging. That's 618 OPS plus, or not OPS plus. Wow. No, not a 618 OPS plus, 618 OPS. 76 OPS plus. Swanson, I mean, somebody was saying he was better than like Carlos Correa the other day, which is just ridiculous. Like, chill out. 76 OPS plus. And he's gotten 115 was his best in 2016. He's had years where he's in the 80s. Swanson, overrated. And I don't mean to crap all over the guy, but Braves fans need to realize that Swanson's overrated. Albies is actually playing well this year, and I don't think Albies is below average like he is. I think the last few years he's been pretty average. He started off the season well, even though if you just look at average, he didn't, but his OPS is a lot better than that. I think that Swanson's overrated. I think Albies maybe slightly overrated, but not super overrated. Swanson, oh my goodness, people are saying don't let him get hot. He has the most strikeouts in baseball, and his OPS plus is at 76. Like, let's chill out with don't let him get hot. I mean, you don't want to let anybody get hot. Aristides Aquino had a 1,049 slugging for a 10-game stretch. You can see that he can do it. You know what I mean? Sorry, that was a little rant I had to go on. I feel like Braves fans are the best at overrating their players. Austin Riley was good last year. He should not have won MVP last year. Bryce Harper was better. Juan Soto was better. Heck, Fernando Tatis Jr. had better counting stats than him in like 20 or 30 less games. So yes, Azuna being back is a big helper for the Braves. And Max Fried's still doing well. Kyle Wright is phenomenal. I remember we watched him against the Mets one time in Florida, and they lost like 2-0 in a doubleheader or so. And Austin Riley grounded into like 3 double plays in a 7-inning doubleheader, I'm pretty sure, or 2 maybe, but they're 2 big double plays. But Strider looks good. Let's see, but the bullpen maybe not. Jansen doesn't look too bad either. Kenley Jansen, I'm glad he's off the Dodgers. Dodgers fans were awful to him after every single loss. He's a great reliever, and I think I think Kelly Jansen's overhated, and he was really, really good, especially in 17, 18, 19. Not that good now, but he's still very, very solid. And the fact that Dodgers fans were upset at him is ridiculous. Um, they're like, oh, he always blows games. Y'all won 106 games last year. Like, what do you want? Nationals, bad. Offense, horrible. Pitching, even worse. Juan Soto looks really good. Maybe not as good as he did last year, but that's a tall order. Cruz doesn't look as good as he did last year either. And Josh Bell, he looks pretty solid. However, the pitching's horrible. Yoana Don, 7.3 ERA. Again, I don't know how to say his name. Josiah Gray looks better, but still not very good. Corbin, the worst starter in baseball, probably. Eric Fedde, I don't know how to say his name. 6 run area, 1.5 whip. Not very good. Nationals, sorry. At least you got a World Series from like 3 years ago to enjoy. But it's going to be a bit of a rebuild. Call up all your prospects. Call up Luis Garcia. Because, man, you aren't contending for anything this year. The Brewers, their differential is a lot better than I thought it was. Maybe it's from those 2 big wins. Yeah, it probably is. From those 2 big wins against the Cubs. The Brewers are finally figuring it out, and credit to them. Their offense is still what's killing them. They have some of the best pitching in baseball, obviously. They're like Rays North. They crap pitchers out. But their offense is what's killing them. That's what killed them in the NLDS last year. And they need to get a better offense for they need to get a better offense if they want to do anything. Christian Yelich, I always look at him because I feel bad because he's struggled so much. Because from the Yelly Belly MVP race in 2019, I personally like him better. And he's at 727 OPS. He's getting better, it looks like. His OPS plus in 2021 was either below average or like the worst it's ever been in his career. In 2020, it was still solid, but not 206 or whatever the heck it was in 2019. He had like a phenomenal 2018 and 19 year. But I do hope that Yelich gets better. I mean, heck, the Brewers are a very rootable team. Wong, he looks like he's struggling pretty bad. So is Lorenzo Kane. McCutcheon is funny. I hear so much about him. His OPS is 640, so he actually might not be doing very good. But I do hear every single time he hits a home run. Maybe it's because he's on the Brewers and used to be on the Pirates, so it's kind of funny. But still, the Cardinals look mediocre. Now, I said this when we did the thing for the, you know what I'm talking about, the preseason predictions. That's what it is. The Cardinals have the it factor. Now, you might be wondering what the it factor is. In 2020, they got COVID worse than everyone else. They had to play like 51 games in 43 days, finished over 500, and made the playoffs. Then last year, 17-game winning streak. Again, Cardinals are another team. You don't doubt them until they're out of the playoffs. They've finished over 500, I think, every single year besides one since 2004 or 2003, something like that. Maybe 2001 even. The only year they didn't finish over 500 was 2007. They had a bad year, 78 and 84 year after they won the World Series in 2006, where the Cardinals, they're going to struggle. But they're a great fielding team. They're like nasty fielding, best fielding in all of baseball. I mean, heck, they had like 6 Gold Glove winners, maybe 5, that were given Gold Gloves like Friday or Thursday. They do look down. I will say, don't doubt the Cardinals until it's over. Goldschmidt looks pretty good. So does Arenado. Arenado looks phenomenal. 1,125 OPS, 375 hours, 440 on base. Yes, please. 881 for Edmund. He looks a lot better than he did last year. Tyler O'Neill, he had a great start to the year. He does not look very good. And then it just goes downhill from there. Pujols, he statistically does look pretty good. He's played 10 games, so again, take it with a grain of salt. He's platooning. He's only going up against left-handed pitching, but 267, 333, 500, 833 on OPS. On OPS, what the heck is that? On base plus slugging. So it looks good in those few games. Paul Young, he probably should be let go. And Dylan Carlson looks like he's struggling too. So Cardinals are 11-9. They've had some tough losses, but that's gonna happen. I think the Cardinals are gonna come back and they're gonna make a run. Pirates are surprisingly the third team in the division. Now, I don't think the Pirates are necessarily very good. Maybe they're better than I thought they were, sure. Um, and maybe they're pretty solid because Brian Reynolds is really struggling right now. He was the only reason why they won 61 games in the first place last year. Brian Hayes looks really good. Vogelbach has an 881 OPS and a 373 on base. Chavis, he's playing pretty well. Their pitching still doesn't look very good. David Bednar, very solid. Um, I misread. I thought Miguel Yahuri was David Bednar. I misread the stats and it said 11.7 ERA. I was like, then what am I talking about? Like, why even post this video if David Bednar has 11 ERA? So he did good. Will Crow, 1.15 ERA, 0.96 WHIP. Mitch Keller looks pretty good. Jose Quintana was a very good pickup. Mitch Keller does not look good, I should say. Jose Quintana was a good pickup. I'm doing this really weirdly. J.D. Brubaker doesn't look very good either. Zach Thompson, not very good either. So it's kind of a miracle that the Pirates are 9-12. But they might be better than last year. It's not very good. Diego Castilla, his OPS isn't high. He's just doing pretty good for a rookie. Cubs, I don't think they're very good either. Their offense isn't that bad. It looks like it's their pitching that's killing them, which that was surprising. Signing Marcus Stroman does not mean you have a good pitching staff. Marcus Stroman's good. He's not playing good right now, but he's a good pitcher. But that doesn't make you have a good pitcher staff. Kyle Hendricks, he's struggling as well. Drew Smiley looks like he's the best, to be honest with you. And Keegan Thompson, pretty solid reliever through 5 games. But yeah, their bullpen ERAs are crazy. 4.5, 3.5, 8.22, 8.59. Yeah, the Cubs pitching hurts. Offense good. Reds, if you can make a new team that was so incredibly bad, they'd be better than the Reds. The Reds are an embarrassment to baseball. Not the players, because I know the players don't want to think. The ownership is an embarrassment for baseball. You can't tell me that a team that's 3-18 is good for baseball. You can't. If you think that this team is good for baseball, especially with how Bob Castellini is managing things, you're dumb. You're stupid. Sorry, I don't want to be rude, but this is one of the reasons why people were criticizing it. The main people who were criticizing it were people who were fans of small market teams like the A's and the Rays, because that's frustrating. The Rays, you see how good they are now. They could be like Dodgers East. I mean, they kind of are, but they could be like Dodgers AL East if they just spend some money. They don't need to spend money, but they could be so much better if they could. You know what I mean? But the Reds, I'm not saying that they could, but do you want to hear? Here's what they are: 27th in runs, 29th in hits, 29th in average, 27th in on-base percentage, 28th in slugging, 30th in OPS, 23rd in home runs, 24th in stolen bases, 30th in runs allowed, 28th in hits allowed, 29th in batting average against, 30th in ERA, 30th in WHIP, 16th in strikeouts per 9. Wow, you're near halfway. Like, good for you. 20th in home runs given up. Oh, and 4th in fielding percentage. So everything that goes against it. If I'm from Cincinnati, if I'm not from Cincinnati, why should I care about the Reds? If I'm from Cincinnati, why should I care about the Reds? Because Castellini, he said like something like, "Where are you going to go?" They're obviously not going to come. Your attendance is one of the worst in baseball, and it's just so tone deaf. The Castellinis are an embarrassment to baseball. If you're so poor, if this is costing you so much money, then sell the team. That's what I'd say to every owner that says, "Oh, you're better investing in the stock market than buying a baseball team." If that's such, then why aren't you selling the team? Then why are you owning a team in the beginning? If you love baseball, sure, but like you would lose hundreds of millions of dollars if you love baseball. That's ridiculous. Votto struggling, not helping. He has walked a few times. I thought I'd mention that. He is striking out a whole lot though. His OPS is 434. His average is 129. He's abysmal. Kyle Farmer, he's probably looking the best out of most of them. Tommy Pham, his OPS is up to 724. Brandon Drury, 752. It's really sad that 752 is the best. And to be fair to the Reds, maybe I'm being too hard on the cheap scumbags in the front office. CJ Anton, Luis Castillo, Justin Dunn, Nick Lodolo, Mike Miner, Tyler Stevenson, Donovan Solano, Max Schrock, all in the IL. Maybe they're better when they come back, but you can't tell me that this is good for baseball in Cincinnati, a team this bad, especially since it's happened twice in the last 5 years. It's ridiculous. I know that Manfred can't force any owners out, but if the owners knew what was good, they would for baseball, they would find a way to get these owners out. I don't expect that they do that, but that's what's best for baseball. The only way that baseball is going to be the top sport that it was in the 1950s is if Stu Sternberg, the irrelevant guy who owns the A's, the Dolans, the Castellinis, Bob Nutting, they're all gone. Because the NBA, they have bad teams too. It's not that the Reds are bad; it's that they're not trying to be good. If that makes sense.
Makes sense.
I mean, you look at the Rockets in the NBA, and you could tell that they at least cared in the offseason. You look at the Pistons of the match, you could tell they at least cared in the offseason, but they didn't just sell everybody off for nothing. And that's why I didn't criticize the A's as much, because you could tell their vision. You can't see the vision here for the Reds. They have the worst differential in baseball, and they're 1-16 in their last 17 games. Now, when I was younger, I used to love teams that are historically good and historically bad. The Orioles, I rooted for them to lose every single game because I wanted to see a historically bad team. They went 45-117, I'm pretty sure. No, yes. Or 47-115, sorry. They were historically bad. Same thing the Tigers the next year. Then by the time we were here, I was like, man, this really sucks. Man, it really sucks for the fan base. If I could choose a team to win the World Series that wasn't my team, not team who I think will win the World Series, if a genie came out of a bottle and said, you can choose who wins the World Series, if I can't choose the Astros, I'm choosing the Reds. I feel horrible for their fan base. I feel horrible for anybody who has to. I feel horrible for the players. It's just an absolutely horrible run mess by the Castellinis. Don't want to be down, so let's talk about the last. Save the best division for last. This might be the best division race in baseball so far. The NL West. Giants, Dodgers. I'm going to do them both together. It might be the race from last year. Now, this is early to say, but the Giants are playing well. Oh, who knew? The people. Oh, okay. This is another rant. The people who said the Giants would fall off because a lot of guys had careers are ridiculous. They're stupid. They're dumb. So you know who had great luck and had a bunch of guys who were good, and a bunch of old guys who were good last year, having career renaissance years? The Mariners. And they were winning one-run games. The Giants won 108 games. Maybe they're not going to win that much this year, but you're not very smart if you think that the only reason why the Giants won was because they're lucky. You missed the whole reason why the Giants won. They won because of the platoon. Gabe Kapler needs a team that he can overmanage. He needs to be in charge of everything. That's how to be a good leader. We saw he didn't work well in Philly. He needs to have a team like this that he can just manage, and not be on a hands-off team. Because when he does, he's a good manager. Jock Peterson looks phenomenal. Brandon Belt, he still looks really good. More Furlow's looks solid. Heck, Crawford's not performing super well. I mean, a little better. If not, then I guess he just wanted to pull a prank on all the Brandon Crawford doubters. You doubt him in 2021, he plays well. You say, okay, he's good in 2022, he plays poorly. That'd be pretty funny. Joey Bart, he looks pretty solid as well. So does Austin Slater. And the pitching looks really good. Logan Webb, maybe not as good as last year, but he looks really good. Carlos Rodon, great addition. Tyler Rogers looks very good as well. The Giants, I don't know if it was Dodgers fans who were saying this or people in general. If you thought they weren't going to do good this year, you're kind of not. You didn't understand why the Giants were good last year, and you just looked at that as being lucky. They weren't lucky last year. There's a reason that nobody played more than 139 games besides Brandon Crawford's injury. And that was because they platooned. They played the matchups to a T. and it was very good, very impressive, and they deserve more credit in my opinion. The Dodgers look good too. Bellinger, he's not the worst player in baseball. He actually looks pretty solid. He looks to be above average. Freeman, great addition for the um, and I mean, just everyone's playing well in the Dodgers. Maybe you could say that Turner and Muncy are underperforming, sure, but the Dodgers they're gonna have guys that they can just throw in there and they perform well. Kershaw still looks really good. Passed Don Sutton for most Dodgers strikeouts. Wheeler looks pretty good. So does Urias. Uh, so does Tyler Anderson. So does Tony Gonsolin. That's a great rotation right there. And I think the Dodgers are going to be a very, very good team. And I think it's going to be just like last year, except with maybe the Padres in there. Now, I'm sure that everyone's doubting the Padres after that, or some people are saying they're good. It really changes. But Machado, he's a dark horse MVP candidate if the season ended today. 386 average, 453 on base, 614 slugging, 1,067 OPS. That's phenomenal. Eric Hosmer, 389, 457, 597, 1,054 OPS. Very, very good. Profar's at 775, Cronenworth is at 711. No, he's an OPS, not the store. Darvish, he looks pretty solid. Manaea was a great pickup. He's been pretty average as of recently from these statistics that I'm looking at right now. But it's a great pickup. Musgrove, very, very good, anchoring that rotation. And Mackenzie Gore looks really good too in his first 3 games. Of course, 3 games, can't judge too much, but good for him. I've always laughed at the people who say you can't judge a bad player after 3 games, so you can't judge a good player after 3 games or so. With the Padres, they might be holding in on it, and Tatis isn't even there. Maybe they're better than the Dodgers or Giants record-wise right now if Tatis is there. I was admittedly down on them, but I mean, I think if you lose a top 5 player in baseball, you should be down on your team. But good for the Padres. I do feel bad for their fan base. Well, not the bandwagons that became fans in 2020. The people who have actually been Padres fans for like 50, not even 50 years, like 30 years or so. Because they've had a lot of tough losses. The Rockies, over 500. There's no way this lasts. They have a run differential of like negative. Their pitching is horrible. However, they will win games in Coors Field, and that's what they're doing. Then the Diamondbacks, they're 10 and 12, and they're the worst team in the division, so they're actually playing pretty solidly. Of course, they probably do have their offense looks like it's one of the worst in baseball. Looking at this, 27th in runs, 30th in hits, 30th in average, 20th in on base, 26th in slugging, 29th in OPS.
Didn't they just beat the Dodgers in a series?
Yes, they did. And the reason why their statistics are low, even because of that, is because they won 1 game with 2 hits. I don't know if it was necessarily the Diamondbacks winning, except the Dodgers played worse. They grounded the 5 double plays that the second game, lost by 2 runs, and they made 2 errors in the 8th inning, lost by 2 runs. So yeah, the Diamondbacks are not playing pretty. They're not playing that poorly. Considering it's them, you know what I mean. I'm about done, but considering it's them, they're not playing too poorly. Their offense looks abysmal, like one of the worst in baseball. But 10 and 12, I'd be pretty happy with that if I was a Diamondbacks fan. About all I have to say. Do you have anything to say?
That was the longest show yet. It's an hour and 8 minutes, be an hour and 9 minutes after I finish talking. But a long one, but a good one after 3 weeks of baseball. Started on April 7th, right? So we are a little shorter than normal, but we do have a middle month, 30 more games, and we'll know a lot more about the teams and players. For instance, we'll know whether Jared Kelenic is now, one main or whatever, or if the teams are good. So, because when I was growing up, it might have changed now, but when I was growing up, they said you needed about 30 games to tell how good a team was or wasn't going to be, just for the reasons you mentioned. Anybody can get hot for 2 or 3 days or even a week, but over time, usually things work their way out. So we'll see.
Yes, I think I did pretty good considering I had no notes and I was just reading off of things. I I do think this video would be better if I made notes, but again, if I were to make notes on every team, the video would be released on like Wednesday or Thursday, and it would defeat the whole purpose. And if I were to look up everybody's advanced stats, which I know stat heads love, and will like talk down on you if you don't know. If you want to watch a 12-hour video, then I guess I'll make one.
Well, here's the deal. This isn't your full-time job, right?
Yeah.
You go to school, you got other things going on. So that's the kind of guys that can spend time to write all the notes. And a lot of them have research staff. They don't even do that. They just read the research that's done. So anyway, great review by Parker Coleman. A long one, but well worth it. We'll see you soon back on the video.